Ask anyone what they think about video games and ADHD, you might get a bunch of different answers. Sometimes you hear good things, sometimes you hear bad things, mostly in the bad category. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Kevin, and this is the Rewire Fitness Podcast. And today I'm going to go over video games and ADHD 10 things you need to know. Number one, rewards. Video games have rewards. It doesn't matter where you are in the video game, there's something there that's going to give you a reward to prompt you to keep going to get to the next reward. When you rescue the princess, reward. When you go through and beat up a few bad guys, you're going to get a reward. When you meet the final boss, you're going to get a reward. You win a race, you get a reward. There's all these different indicators of you are getting a reward for doing this activity in this game. And that's great, but the thing about it is when you have ADHD, you're generally operating at a dopamine deficiency, and what that means is that you're trying to find ways to produce more dopamine. When you get a reward, you get more of dopamine. Now you have found a dopamine producing engine, right? You understand that when you play this video game, you get rewards, boom, dopamine's produced, right? So if you are playing video games and you're really liking the game, you're really into it, and you just keep playing and playing and playing and playing, and you're going and you're trying to get that next reward, and you are just excited because you've got to almost the end of this stage and you are going to get the final reward for this stage, but you look up and you've been playing the video game for 5 hours when you need to do something 2 hours ago. So that's the issue. Great that there's a game and you have rewards inside the game, and that's great because you know that that's going to be good for producing dopamine. The downside of that, just don't get so involved and hyperfocus on the video game that you get so much into the reward system that you forget the important things that you need to do. Number two, microtransactions. If you played a video game recently, then you're going to know about microtransactions. Microtransactions are the things that they have in place to say, buy this cool outfit for your character, $2. Buy this really cool paint job for your car, $2. So you're going to see that all around these games. You're going to see microtransactions everywhere, especially if it's one of those games that's like it's free to play, but in-app purchases, microtransaction. So all these different things are connected to a microtransaction. Now, if you have ADHD and you have found a game that you enjoy and you see that they have a different costume for just $1 or $2, and then you see, ooh, there's another costume that I want for another $1 or $2. Now you see where this is going, right? You have ADHD and you have problems with spending money and money management, and then you see all these things that you want, and you can go and just spend money on all these little different microtransactions to get all these cool things for your character, cool things for the game that you want. Wow, this is really cool. And then you realize you spent $20 on things that have no actual value. They just have virtual value, but no real value. So you spent $20 on things that are virtual, that don't really have any value at all. Outside the game, they have no value. You spent $20 on nothing, basically, right? But if you get really addicted or get really into, buying everything, making sure that you have everything, every time something comes out, you spend another $2 here, another $2 there, then it can add up. So be aware when you are playing video games and you see these microtransactions and you have ADHD and you have a problem with money management, you may want to step back and avoid them at all costs and just say, hey, I'm not going to buy any of this stuff. I'm just going to not do it. Number three, the sneaky skill level change. You ever been playing a game and just horrible at it? You can't do anything right in the game and you're trying and trying and trying, and you are just on the first stage and you can't even get past it. And then all of a sudden, you just destroy everything. And you get past that stage and you're like, wow, awesome, I finally did it. Well, let me tell you, some companies, what they do is if they see that you are not doing well in the game, and they'll program the game to do this, says if you see player such and such not doing well in the game, ease up the skill level needed to advance to the next part. Now, why did they do this? Because companies know that if you lose every time you open a game and play it, that you're going to get discouraged and stop playing it. And they don't want that. They want you to keep playing the game. And so what happens is they program it so that you know that you're going into this thing and you're doing all this stuff and you're succeeding, but in the back of everything, there's a system in there that says, lighten this up a little bit so this player can actually win and get through. Because I don't want you just like buying the game, taking it and throwing it away. I mean, I guess they don't care that much because they already have your money. But the point of it is they want you to give good word of mouth. They want you to keep playing the game. They want you to keep experiencing the game. And so that's what they do. They set it up so there's a sneaky skill change in the back of all the enemies that says, hey, lighten this up just a little bit so they can get through and they can win and go on to the next stage. Number 4, you you almost won. And what I mean by that is you're playing the game, you're doing great, you're going and doing everything you need to do, and you get to the last boss and you're fighting the last boss, a hard fought battle, and right before you destroy the boss, you get destroyed yourself. You lose. But you almost won. You almost got there. You almost defeated that boss. And you had been trying all night to defeat that boss. You just got to the point you almost won. And now in the back of your mind, you're saying, I almost won. I know that I will win next time. I know that if I just keep playing right now, I will destroy that boss in the next fight. And then what happens is you start playing again, and it's another 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and you still haven't done it. And you think back to that time where you were just right close to the boss and you get frustrated because you had it. All you had to do was do this other move and you would defeat the boss. And instead, you've been playing for another 2 hours and you still haven't done it. And that's what I mean. Be careful of that, because if you get to the point to where you're like, I almost had it, and that forces you to keep playing because now you say, I know that I can beat the boss. Now I almost did it. But be careful of that, because what happens is you may waste a whole lot of time thinking that something's going to take you 5 minutes and it takes you 2 hours, and then you might miss an appointment or miss something that you have to do or stay up way too late trying to defeat this one boss, finish this one part. So just be aware of that. That is part of the game. Number 5, don't give in to the game's taunts. Games will taunt you, and the designers know exactly what they are doing when they do it. You finished, the countdown is going down, you almost won, and then you're at that point and you have a chance to quit. You have a chance to say, I'm done playing for tonight or today, I'm going to go do something else. But then the game will put in there saying, you're not going to go out like that. You almost had him. You're not going to let the enemy win. You're not going to let that boss defeat you like that. You have to keep playing. You have to continue. Don't do it. Don't get drawn into the trap. Don't get drawn into the trap where the game taunts you and you give in to that taunt when you know you got other things to do, other things that you need to go deal with, and you decide, no, I'm not going to let the game beat me. I am going to go and play again and again until I win. That's a mistake. Don't fall into that trap. Do not fall into the trap. I'm just telling you, the situation is going to come up and you're going to be in that situation and you're going to see the countdown. You're going to hear the game, or it's going to put words up on the screen. You can't quit now. Keep going. And you're going to be like, you're right. I can't quit now. I'm going to keep going. And next thing you know, 2 more hours have gone by and you're sitting there. You missed something you need to do. So be aware. These are tricks they put into the game to make you keep playing, and don't give in to the taunt. Just don't do it. Number 6, the computer cheats, or at least we think the computer cheats. But here's the point. You'll be playing a game and you'll be like, yes, I'm winning. I'm doing the things that, doing this thing, doing that thing. And you almost get to the point to where you win. And then all of a sudden, the computer just does this crazy combination and crazy moves and this and that and beats you. And you're like, wait, what? I was just winning. Or you're playing a game that has points involved, right? You're playing a game that has points involved, and then all of a sudden, the computer's player just goes wild, right? Whoever the computer is controlled just goes wild and gets like all of the points and all the things that it needs to win, and it wins. My point about this is don't get frustrated. Even if even if you sit there and say the computer is cheating, it's the cheatingest machine I've ever played, the cheatingest game I've ever played. I'm going to play it again, but I know the computer is cheating. Let me tell you another trap. Don't fall into the trap of thinking the computer cheats, even though the computer probably is cheating. But the point about this is you don't want to get stuck playing a game that the computer is really cheating on, cheating in. And you don't want to get stuck playing it for an extended period of time trying to beat the computer, knowing that at some point the computer is probably going to take over and cheat. Just letting you know, don't fall into that trap. When it happens, don't get frustrated by it. You are going to realize it's happening. You're going to realize that there's probably not a whole lot you can do at the time, but just don't get frustrated by it. Number 7, don't buy every game that comes out when you're thinking about video games. Because the issue is, if you buy a lot of games, what happens is that you buy a game and 2 weeks later, you're not interested in that game anymore. You just say, I played it. It was cool. I'm done with it. And you throw it on your shelf somewhere. So if you have ADHD and you do this, because I've done it, I buy a game, 7 days later, I don't even want to play the game anymore. I'm just like, I'm done with it. I might play it again in a year. But in a year, you could have gotten the game for half the price, So just think about that. Don't go and buy every game that you really want when you're not sure if you're going to like the game anyway, or you're not sure if you actually are going to keep playing the game, because your interests are going to switch if you have ADHD. You might be interested in this game one day and be interested in another game another day, and then you buy the one game and then you're not interested in it anymore, and you really want this other game because you're really interested in that game. So you go and buy the other game because you were interested in that game, and then you get to the point to where you're not interested in that game anymore, but there's another game you're interested in, not the 2 previous games that you bought. And so you end up buying a third game, and you see where this is going, right? You're going to keep buying these different games and not really keeping the interest in any of them, and then you're just going to keep spending money and money and money, when what you really need to do is think about which games you want to buy, truly buy. Like, find a way to play them, or find a way to find a review and say, okay, I really like that game. I looked at all the reviews or whatever. I think it will be a good game for me, so I'm going to go ahead and buy it. Number 8, not realizing how long a round is. If you play a game that has rounds where you have to be and wait into a virtual lobby, and you're sitting there in the lobby waiting to go into the game, right? You're sitting there waiting. So you get in the lobby, you're there, you're ready to play the game, and then you have to wait to get into the game. And then once you're in the game, you play for a little while, and then now you're back out waiting in the virtual lobby again. And then you get back into the game, you play a little while, and then come back out and wait into the virtual lobby. That whole process takes a while. If you play 2 games, that's going to be an hour of your time, because of the fact that generally it takes about 15 minutes to play the game generally, and then it will take another 15 minutes sitting and waiting in the lobby, and then so much time connecting and all that kind of stuff to get back into another game and play that game for another 15 minutes. So you're looking at an hour just for 2 games. So just realize that when you are in these games that have a round kind of format, they're going to take a lot longer than you think. You're going to be enjoying the game, but you're not going to realize how much time passes. You'll be like, hey, I'm starting at 10 and I'm going to play till like 12, and then you'll get done and you'll be like, why is it 4 o'clock in the morning? Because you didn't realize that those 4 or 5 games you played took 4 or 5 hours to play. Number 9, Don't get frustrated because you're not good at the game. Don't let the game get you down because you're not good at the game. You could be really awful at the game, and that's just kind of the fact and reality of it. Sure, you like the game, you want to play the game, you're just not good at it, and that's okay. I played a lot of games that I am terrible at. I mean, really, really bad, kind of terrible at these games. And I thought, man, I'm so bad at this game. I really want to be good at this game, but I am not very good at the game. I can watch other people at the game who are very good, but that's just not my forte. That's not me. That's not what I'm good at. And that's okay by me. But if you really want to play a game and you're like, I really want to be good at this game, I really want to find all the things in this game, and you're just not very good at the game, that's okay. No problem, right? You're just going to be like, okay, yeah, I'm not good at the game. I'm not very good at this game or that game. You're not going to be good at every game. So just realize that and just be okay with it. And number 10, cyberbullying. Now, this is a more serious subject than everything else I've gone over in this video, in this podcast. Cyberbullying is really bad and can affect people in really bad ways. It's when you get online and people are just talking a lot of not so nice stuff to you. They're saying things that might be considered, really bad to you or someone that you know, or talking about things about coming to your area and just all sorts of things, right? So it's not fun. It's not a good thing to be cyberbullied. It's not something that you want to experience, but you may experience that when you go online. And so you may experience that where you have games that have a chat function. You're going to just be with people who are behind a screen at home, and they just feel like they can say whatever they want. And so just be aware of that when you're on these online games and games where they have a chat feature where people can just talk and there's no real filters, that you can experience cyberbullying or language you don't want to hear or things that you don't want to hear about. And it's just things that happen online that are not very good, that shouldn't be allowed, that shouldn't be part of it. Okay, so just know that may or may not be encountered by you when you're playing games online. And I hope it doesn't happen to anyone that is playing online and just trying to have fun and then happens to find a group that is not much fun to play in, or find a group that's not much fun to be in for the game. So just want to express that, because that is something serious that you really need to be aware of when you are playing games online, and you don't want to just jump into that kind of environment and then realize you're in that kind of environment and not be prepared for it, and just say, okay, maybe I don't need to be in this group in this game, and just leave and go play a different game or try to find a different group to play with. Okay, that's it. Hope that you've enjoyed everything. Hope you enjoyed the information. Hope you had a good time. And I appreciate you watching or listening, whichever way that you are getting this podcast. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and click the subscribe button for me, as well as ring the notification bell and leave a like and a comment. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.